Hey everyone, welcome back to Manifesting Podcast Episode 3, the show where Hazelnuts hang out. I'm your host Harshit, and along with me we have Pranit. Today we have an absolutely incredible guest joining us. He is an IIT Roorkee graduate, an Oxford graduate, a former software engineer, and now a distinguished Indian Forest Service officer. He is a person who took a daring leap from a successful tech career to taking one of the most demanding and impactful challenges there is. That is serving the nation and protecting our natural world. Welcome, Satish sir.
Thank you very much, Harshit. Hello, Pranit.
Sir, you had a very good career as a software engineer at Cisco. So, what made you leave software engineering and take a big exam like UPSC?
Probably I'll just start with giving a little bit of introduction about me. Thanks a lot, Harshit, for giving that wonderful introduction. So
Yeah,
my name is Satish, and I'm an Indian Forest Service officer of 2015 batch. I belong to Tamil Nadu cadre. And like Harshit was mentioning, I was a former software engineer. I was working with Cisco when I took a decision to get into civil services. So it's been quite some time since I've been working as IFS officer in the state of Tamil Nadu, and currently I'm doing my masters in biodiversity conservation and management from the University of Oxford. So I'm a Oxford India Center for Sustainable Development scholar. So I've been, just running around for my thesis, and Harshit contacted me for this small interaction, and I'm very grateful. And I should first apologize for
yeah.
delaying the, interaction
No, sir.
for quite some time, and I'm really thankful for giving me this opportunity to interact with you guys. So coming to my career as such. So I did my BTech in Electronics and Communications Engineering from SRKR Engineering College, which was affiliated to Andhra University at that point of time. Later, during my campus interviews, I got into Wipro and Accenture at that point of time. Uh, but I wrote gate examination, and I wanted to do masters, and then I got into both the IIT Guwahati and IIT Roorkee at that point of time. Then there was a decision to take because I got into digital signal processing in IIT Guwahati and computer science in IIT Roorkee. I preferred computer science, so I went to IIT Roorkee. I did my masters in computer science over there, and then I from the campus I joined Informatica Business Solutions, which was one of the very good companies in the data warehousing and databases. I worked in uh, Informatica for an year or so, and then I shifted to the Cisco because Cisco was my dream company because I had done my dissertation in my masters in the computer networks, the mobile ad hoc networks, and Cisco has always been the leader in the networking space. So I always wanted to get into Cisco. So I did give the off-campus interviews in Bangalore and got into Cisco. And it was at that point of time I thought, fine, let me. Cisco was wonderful. I had a exceptional tenure of around 1.5 to 2 years. I had a tenure. It was a wonderful tenure, and it was at that point of time I thought there were things which I can do, at a larger scale. Then I was looking out for different, things which I could do. So there was this, I could have done my MS in US and settled back in US. I had this option of doing the, writing the CAT examination, going for MBA. So there were multiple options to uh, do. And that was when, for the first time I came across civil services examination, which was quite late. I should accept, I should have done my
Yeah,
homework a little bit earlier. But yes, civil services was, I came across the examination. My roommate was preparing at that point of time. So I attended a couple of, free coaching classes. And, when I heard about the examination, went through the syllabus of the examination, it really fascinated me. It was all about India. It was all about, you know, you need to know everything about India, and which was really interesting for me, because coming from a engineering background, we 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 generally don't look at social sciences. We're always technical. We code, and we do the circuits, and we are very technical, uh, with very less knowledge about the social sciences. So when I came across the UPSC preparation and UPSC syllabus, it really fascinated me. That is when I decided, okay, fine, let me take a leap into it. And later I realized it's not so easy exam. It is highly competitive exam, and it was really tough. And I gave a couple of my civils examination attempts with the job. In the first attempt, I could go up to interview, but I couldn't clear the exam. Second attempt, I failed in the main stage. That was when I decided, you know, it wasn't working with the job. So that is when I gave up my job, gave my third attempt. I got into both forest service, and in the civil services, I got into the railways. Uh, Forest services fascinated me. It is one of the wonderful services out there, and there's a lot to contribute. And today, environment, forest, climate change, these are like the buzzwords across the world. There's a lot of stuff going on in the field of conservation. And then, at that point of time, I thought, fine, this is the service I want to be in. So I decided, and I took the leap.
Sir, for us, IFS is something new as compared to IAS and IPS.
Right.
Can you tell us about IFS, and can you tell the career path in IFS, right, from the new officer to the highest level officer?
Yeah. So the if you see the civil services in India, there are three kinds of civil services essentially. One is the in all India services. The other type are the civil central services. The third one is the state services. So if you see the state services, generally they are conducted by the state public service commissions. These are Group One, Group Two examinations, which you might have come across. So there the officers are recruited by the state governments, and they essentially work for the concerned state. The second type of services which I was mentioning is about the central services. So these are the services which are being recruited by the central government. They're essentially the central government employees. They are trained, recruited, and then work in various ministries in the central government. Services like Indian Foreign Service, the Indian Revenue Service, Indian Railway Management Service, uh, Indian Defense Accounts, Defense Estates, Indian Telecom Service. These are all central government services. These are central services which are being recruited by the by the civil services examination itself. The third category of services are called the All India services. So we have three All India services. One is the IAS, the other is the IPS, the third one is the Indian Forest Service. So these three services are essentially all India in character. They are recruited. The officers for these services are recruited and trained by the central government, but they are essentially posted to the states. A state cadre would be assigned to these officers, and they would be working with the state government, but they do have option to go to the central government on deputations. So all India services are a special category of services which try to integrate India. So they are the name. That's how the name of All India Service comes into the picture. So IAS and IPS, definitely they are the domain of working is quite different. If you see the administrative career, so you have uh, people starting at a deputy collector, at assistant collector level, and then they go to the collector, and then they go on to become the secretaries. So the stream is the administrative wing of the government. The police service is obviously they work on the law and order, and so their career path starts from ASP, the addition, and then they become the SPs of concerned districts, and then DIGs, and then they go up to DGP, which is the head of the police forces in the states. The third service is the service which I represent, the Indian Forest Service. So, as Indian Forest Service officers, our mandate was to protect the natural resources of this country, the forest and the wildlife. So, we essentially implement various forest acts, which include, Indian Forest Act, Forest Conservation Act, the Wildlife Protection Act, to an extent, the Forest, the Tribal Rights Act, and we are the enforcement wing of the forest acts in this country. And if you ask me about the career path, uh, a typical forest officer is trained for 2 years. Uh, you have first 4 months of training in Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy for Administration in Mussoorie. So here we are trained along with the other services. It is called the foundation course, where where officers from all services, IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS, all the services will be there at the academy. They'll be trained about basic administration and basic skills, and various aspects related to the management and the administration of this country. After we complete our 4 month training in Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy, we move to our respective academies. For Forest Service, it is Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, Dehradun, which is a wonderful academy. So we have around 16-month training over there. And this 16-month training, almost 8 to 9 months, will be traveling across the country, seeing all the forests, and various national parks, tiger reserves, and various initiatives that are being taken up by the state governments with respect to conservation. So we have an extensive training program, at you know in which we travel a lot. We have a lot of classes. We have a lot of lectures, a lot of guests coming to the academy, and telling about various initiatives they have undertaken. And after we complete the 16-month the training at National Forest Academy, we'll be heading to our states. So typically, the starting post of IFS officer is a assistant conservator of forest, which is also called as which is abbreviated as ACF. So as an ACF, you are attached basically to a DFO, the district forest officer, or a divisional forest officer. So you will be attached to a DFO, where you will be getting trained under a DFO about various aspects of forest administration in that particular district. You'll be trained about uh, enforcing the forest acts. You'll be trained about interacting with the people, the tribals, the people who are dependent on the forests, the communities. You'll be understanding how a forest administration works, and you will also be working with the district administration, where uh, you interact with the people from the other services, the district collector and the superintendent of police. So you will essentially be trained for like 4 months. So once your training as a ACF has ended, you are technically given a forest division. So in many states, it's synonymous to district. In some states where a particular district has more forests, so there might be uh, more divisions in a particular revenue district. So you will be heading a forest division, and once you will be in the as a DFO for quite some time. So after that, you become a conservator of forest, where you will have a larger jurisdiction, where you have few DFOs coming under your reporting to you. And then the next stage is the additional principal chief conservator of forest, and the highest uh, post which you can reach in the forest service is the principal chief conservator of forest, who is also the head of forest forces in the state. So that is with respect to the state. At the same time, you can also go to the central government. You can work in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, where you are basically you enter as AIGF, that is Assistant Inspector General of Forest, and then you go up to DG Forest, which is Director General of Forest. So this is the career path in both state government and the central government for an IFS officer.
Sir, like, can you share any memorable experience from your tenure as an IFS officer? Like, any crazy experience?
Well, there will be a lot of things that will be happening. So I was in charge of. I worked in almost 5 forest divisions, as a holding the full charge, and I was holding additional charge of a few more divisions. So there were a lot of experiences which I can share. So there were a lot of animal rescue operations which we have done. There was this case where I was the district forest officer of Tirupattur district in Tamil Nadu, where we had two male elephants, coming into the revenue areas. They lost their way from the forest, and then they came into the districts, villages in the district, and that was the first time people of Tirupattur were actually seeing a elephant. So people were so excited to see the elephants, but these are wild elephants. They were they in the past, in the previous 1 month, they killed around 6 people. They trampled around 6 people, and they entered into the Tirupattur district, lost their way and came into this district. And we had almost like 6 to 7 days of sleepless nights. So the whole district administration, the forest administration was, you know we were trying to tranquilize them, we were trying to catch them, and we were trying to rescue and rehabilitate them. So it was a sleepless 6 to 7 days of experience. So we got our team, we had teams coming across the state. We got rapid response team from Krishnagiri district. We had people from Vellore district, Tiruvannamalai district coming to help us, because that was the first time we were witnessing elephants in our particular district. Then we had to bring our Kumki elephants, the trained elephants, to you know transfer these elephants onto the rescue vehicles. And so we got Kumki elephants from the tiger reserves, Annamalai Tiger Reserve and Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, sent us elephants, all this in a span of like 5 days. So we had to get the elephants, make arrangement for the elephants, the Kumki elephants. Then we had to get our veterinary team, which was spread across the state. We had to assemble them. Then we had to decide which area to, drive these elephants so that we can tranquilize them. And then we tranquilized, and then we took them and left them in the North Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary, which is in the Krishnagiri district, which was like 200 kilometers away. So it was so difficult. People in Krishnagiri were also facing the conflict situations, and we were taking two more wild elephants and you know putting them back in Krishnagiri district. And so we didn't inform any public. The Krishnagiri DFO
Yes.
also was gracious enough not to inform. So over the night we formed a small road in the forest to transport the vehicles. And I guess we could transport the you know we could get the elephants onto the vehicle around midnight, 2 o'clock or so. And by the time we reached Krishnagiri, it was morning 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, when the sun was rising. And people were shocked to see the elephants going, because they had absolutely no clue. So there were a lot of incidents like this. I was in charge of Vandalur Zoo also. So during the corona time, we had 16 lions which were infected by coronavirus. And it was the second wave of corona, the delta virus, delta corona's COVID, where literally everything was shut down. We had to take swabs of these lions. We had to physically restrain the lions, take the swabs, and then send them across the country to get those swabs tested, because we didn't have COVID testing facility in Chennai. So we had to send it to long distances when literally everything was shut down. So finally, we could rescue 14 of them. We lost two of them for COVID. But this exercise took almost like 2 months. We had no sleep during my tenure as deputy director of Chennai Zoo. So there were a lot of instances where people will look up to you for your leadership, for you to give them the guidance on how to go about things. So yeah, there were a lot of memorable incidents. Yes.
Sir, you completed your MTech in computer science from IIT Roorkee, right? Like, did it
Yeah.
help you in your journey to become a forest service officer?
Well, uh, My civil services optionals were geography and public administration. So I had uh, at that point of time in 2012, when I took my first attempt, we had two optionals at that point of time. So I had taken geography and public administration. Later, from 2013, it was only one optional, so I shifted to geography. And in forest service examination, we have a separate mains exam for which we need to take different subjects. So in forest service, my options were geology and agriculture, so which are closely related to the geography optional. So in that year, I wrote three optionals like geography, geology, and agriculture in the examination. So there were, as you can see, there's a huge transition from the computer science, from the data structures, from the operating systems, from the computer networks to the geography, geology, and agriculture. So if you ask me whether it helped me or not, I would say it helped me in planning. I could, my education in IIT taught me how to plan, how to reach your goal, and you know, how do you organize your stuff and all that. And after I came into the service, I did use my technical skills because we were building the website for Vandalur Zoo, where we brought about a lot of changes in the website. We brought about new booking, modules. We have right now we have a 24-hour streaming of the animals which are in the enclosures on the website. We had taken a lot of initiatives with respect to the IT side of it. We had CCTV cameras, monitoring all the animals, and right now many officers are also working on the heat. How does the you know uh, how do we avoid the human animal conflicts, and how do we monitor the forest boundaries. So there are a lot of initiatives that are related to IT that have been that are being done in the forest departments. So definitely the knowledge of computer science is helpful, but it is not straightforward. You have to pick and choose where you need to use your knowledge. So yeah, definitely my I have never I never felt that any of my education has not been used in my service. So uh, in your career, definitely you keep learning a lot of stuff which would definitely help you in your career. Yes.
Sir, like we see many UPSC officers, most of them come from an IIT background. Like, do you believe IITians have any secret advantage in the UPSC exam, even though the subjects are so different? Or is it something about the mindset you build there? And what would you say to a smart and hardworking student from a non-IIT college who might feel intimidated or that the system is unfair?
I can understand where it is coming from.
Yeah.
IITs are, I believe, that are little bit, you see them as a very big institutes, which are like, so difficult to get into, and so difficult to even pass out of an IIT. So they do stand for their reputation. Okay, but UPSC is not unfair to candidates who are not non-IITians. The reason you find more IIT people clearing the UPSC is probably, I feel,
Yes.
they intend to go a little extra, go extra mile, the motivation to do something different, something better, the motivation to choose something which is not chosen by regularly on a regular basis. So it's more to do with the mindset. I see a lot of people who are coming from not so good, not so rich backgrounds, not so highly reputed colleges, still clearing civil services comfortably, because the examination pattern of civil services is quite rigorous. It has nothing to do with with your intelligent quotient. It has everything to do with your emotional quotient, because it requires a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of hours of study, a lot of planning, and a lot of strategy to clear the examination, which is and you need to put in a lot of time. So uh, and it is always a relative examination. So you have, to give you the numbers, around 10 lakh people apply for the examination, and you have around 5 lakh people who are actually taking the prelims examination, around 5 lakhs, and only 13 to 14,000 clear the prelims. So you can see from 10 lakhs it comes to 13 to 14,000.
Yes.
And then you have around 3,000 people giving the interview, approximately 3,000 to 3,500 people giving the interview, reaching the interview stage and giving it. And then you hardly have 1,000 seats every year, so from 10 lakhs you come down to 1,000, so which is really really tough, and it is always a relative examination. So yeah, I don't think there is any disadvantage for being a non-IITian, but it is, it all depends on how do you plan to clear this examination, because it's very, it is intimidating examination. But I always take the inspiration from the fact that, you know everyone who's writing the examination is a human, right? So the more efforts you put, the more dedication you show, the more practice you do, the better strategy you adopt, you will definitely be there, because it's a relative examination. It is not an absolute examination. If you see any topper, all India first rank, if you see the UPSC marks he scores, it will hardly be 55 to 60%, of the total score, so which tells you that, you know it's it's not about, being 100 out of 100. It's about knowing your country,
Yeah.
understanding your country, strategize better, present your thoughts better in the examination, and whoever does that, whether he is an IITian or a non-IITian, will clear the exam.
So a lot of students still get stuck in the UPSC cycle for many years. In your honest opinion, like how does someone know when it's time to stop trying and maybe chase a different dream completely?
Well, I always tell to aspirants, whoever come to me, ask me, sir, how do we start? So I always tell them, if you are ready to dedicate your full time to UPSC, then only get into it, or else it is very difficult examination, because uh, you start your preparation at your prime age of, let us say, 23, 24. Okay. And you get into, let us say, you waste 5, 6 years of your time, and
Yes.
you don't get into the examination. Okay. That is a very scary situation where you lost
Yes.
your prime time, you don't have work experience, and you can't use your bachelor's degree or master's degree also to get the employment. So it's a very very scary time. So I always tell them, give your full dedication. It is not a difficult it is not an impossible examination, but you have to give your full time, and success is guaranteed at a certain level. You'll understand that, yes, I'm gonna do this. This is in my reach. uh, you need to get to that point to even take a decision whether to continue or not. Okay. So when you start, you have to start with your full dedication. You have to give your time, you have to understand the syllabus, you have to go through, you know the toppers blogs and the strategies. You have to go through the syllabus. There are textbooks, everyday newspaper. There's so much of things you need to do. And once you are through, through all these things, you reach a certain level of confidence, where uh, it becomes a little bit of luck factor, whether you are lucky or not, you know in getting into the services. But I would still say, you can see the people who cleared once keep clearing it second time, third time, fourth time. So they're, I can't say there's a luck. You can't expect someone clearing the examination three times with luck, right? So there is a strategy, there is a clear pattern in which people write the examination to clear the examination. So it takes time. It definitely does take time, but you see people clearing in the first attempt, you see people who clear in the fourth or fifth attempt. So yeah, I mean, it all depends on how do you prepare, what is your strategy, how how do you outmaneuver the others in the in the race to get the ranking. So yeah, I mean, you just can't say that like at this point of time I'll stop, because UPSC, at once you enter, it becomes an obsession. You'll feel that you must clear it. So yeah, the decision has to be taken at the start whether I should go for it or not. If you are going for it, go full throttle. You need to put on, and then just do it.
Sir, during the time you crack the UPSC, like even the e-learning is not possible, like buying courses from online or learning through any Udemy courses or stuff. Like, what approach did you use to crack the prelims, or you cleared prelims almost two times, right, sir?
Thrice.
Yeah. So, what approach did you use? Like, what were the resources? What books did you use?
Oh well, there is a standard set of reference books which you will which you generally get online. There are reference books for all the subjects. Indian history, Indian polity, economy, geography. All these subjects have standard reference books which you have to study. Okay, there's no other way. No coaching can. The coachings can actually give you little bit of start. But it is up to the individual to to understand what is his best resource. So you need to read all these books, understand all these books, and then you have to study your newspaper on a daily basis. I used to study Hindu and Times of India, so I used to study two papers. uh, then you should even the newspaper reading, over a period of time. For example, if you keep reading the newspaper for 3 4 months, from the fourth month onwards you would see a pattern of news. You'll understand that, okay, this is what has been told like 2 months ago in this particular news article. So you need to study your newspapers, and then you have to stay in touch with the online uh, resources, the online learning platforms also. I used to be on this website called Forum IAS, where we used to uh, have forums where we used to discuss on different strategies and all with the fellow aspirants. And then I used to go for a free there was a free coaching center that was there in Bangalore at that point of time. So weekends I used to go there to just meet the aspirants, understand what their strategies are, and then come back and study. So if someone is telling you that he studied 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours per day for civil services examination, I should tell you that they are not lying, because it does take so much of time. But the syllabus is so interesting that you will actually automatically spend your time in studying for so long. So as I told, it's a dedication. You study for 10 hours, 12 hours, there'll be a lot that would be happening in a span of like 3 4 years of your preparation, outside the examination, right? So there are a lot of things that keep on going on in your life, but still you need to maintain the dedication day on day. I used to, when I was doing my job in Cisco, I used to wake up around 4 o'clock in the morning. I used to study up to 9 o'clock, go to the office, and then come back at 6 o'clock and study up to night 10 o'clock. So it was really rigorous. And then Saturdays, Sundays, I used to spend almost like 12 to 15 hours in studies. Okay. So I used to start in the morning 6 o'clock and end at night 10 o'clock. Saturdays, Sundays. And this timetable was for like 2.5 years. So you can understand the kind of efforts we put in on a daily basis. So hardly in couple of months, couple of days you take it as an off day, but rest of the time you will have to study. So it became a little easier when I left my job because I had a lot of time. So I used to start around 7 o'clock in the morning and study up to like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the night. So it was a lot easier when you do not have the job. So so yeah, the strategy will be different for different persons, but you have syllabus, you have examinations, and practice is very very important. So especially with respect to the preliminary examination, before prelims, I believe I have written almost like 25 to 30 mock prelims papers. Okay, I used to write every morning. a paper, then see the key, correct it, and then see the questions where I went wrong, So, and this is for like 30 papers for 30 days before prelims. So to even write those papers, you should have finished your preparation almost like 1.5 month before prelims, which is a huge task, So it's like the planning is goes on for an year, you need to plan for an year. So I used to have a timetable on my door, written with like, for example, today is August. I can say that what I would be reading on January 15th of next year. So that was how I planned my timetable. So yeah, it all depends on your planning, and how do you study, and how do you attempt, what is your strategy. So yeah, it is a difficult task, yes.
So, sir, during your training, you traveled all over India, right? So,
Right.
was there a moment or a place where you felt like, yeah, this was worth it?
Well, there's a lot that has been happening in India, especially with respect to conservation. So I remember we went to Gir National Park, where we have seen, lions even venturing out of the national park. Communities are living, are very tolerant with the lion population. They were even living with the lions. Lions venture into the villages, but still they don't get harmed. There were a lot of initiatives that were taken by the officers across the country. We have a bear park, sloth bear park in Agra, which was a wonderful place. And we went to Ladakh, Leh Ladakh. We have seen Pangang So, and we have seen how the people are trying to live with, you know live in those harsh conditions. And they're growing the you know the vegetation and all there, trying to restore uh, uh, for the snow leopard. There's a snow leopard project that is going on in Ladakh. uh, we went to a lot of tiger reserves. We went to Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. We were in Rajaji Tiger Reserve. We were in Jim Corbett. We went to Mudumalai, Bandipur. So we have seen the tiger management, how the dwindling numbers have been, rescued. And today we have a sufficient number of tigers. And yeah, there were many instances where, and we even visited few places where the urban forestry today is one of the very important component of conservation. So we visited cities like, Jaipur, Udaipur, which were doing very good urban forestry works, where they're creating the biodiversity parks across, in the states. So and then we went to, we had this attachments with the parliament. We understood how the parliament functions, and what are the, different wings of the parliament, how the policies are being discussed and all that. We went to the hearings of NGT, the National Green Tribunal, where which handles the environmental related cases. So there were a lot of instances where you really see a lot of work happening in the field of conservation. And it does inspire you that yes, you have taken a, very good decision. And today I'm doing my masters in Oxford University, in biodiversity conservation, which is again giving me a lot of international perspectives on the conservation, how the conservation is being practiced across the world. So yeah, I mean, and all these opportunities do pop up, when you are in a service. And definitely it is worth it. It is very interesting service. And it is probably one of the most important fields of work in which the whole world is working right now, because a lot of buzz with respect to the climate change, with respect to conservation, with respect to dwindling forest resources, or the increase of the carbon emissions, or there are a lot of stuff that is the ecosystem restoration. Very 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 recently I attended the wetland conservation COP in Zimbabwe. So there's a lot of things that keep happening in the field of conservation, which which act as motivation to you, you know. So I'm quite satisfied to be in this service, and it is a very interesting service to, you know, to work in. Yeah.
Sir, do you think all these sleepless nights you spent worth, or if you had been a engineer at Cisco, maybe you would have earned more, or like you would have been in a higher position in Cisco?
Yes. So
Yeah,
see, it depends on what kind of lifestyle you would like to have. You know, uh, when I was working in software, it was a wonderful life. You know, you get a lot of salary, and I should tell that I may not be earning as much salary as I was earning like 10 years back in Cisco now. Okay, so uh, but everything cannot come down to the numbers. So when
yeah,
you work in a civil service, for example, you you are actually working for your nation in a very constructive way. So still there are two Indias, in which one India you get a Swiggy or a Zomato delivery in 10 minutes of whatever you want, but there's another India where people even walk miles to get to a school, or to, you know, or to get a proper primary health care, or to even fetch water. So there are a lot of versions in India. So it depends on what kind of career you would like to have. So as an engineer, you can definitely get good salary. But it becomes a really personal life. Your family, you get your salary, you build a home, you are, it becomes a little personal life. I wanted to be in a public life where I can impact the lives of other people. And civil services is probably the only career option which would kind of give you that opportunity where you can serve large amount of people in a at a very young age. So you take any district collector who's a direct recruitee of UPSC, hardly he will be of 35 years of age. So at 35 years of age, you have a huge district responsibility on your shoulders. You may be earning, let us say a district collector typically earns around 70 to 80,000 per month, but the whole district responsibility is on you. So you go to villages, you ensure that you provide the healthcare, the education, uh, you know you you can change the lives of people, by being in a public service. So I never regretted the fact that I had shifted my career from software into the civil services. I always felt pride being in the civil service, because the opportunities that the civil services provides are unmatchable in this country, because you can literally work in any ministry. Even as a forest officer, I can work in the culture ministry of culture, or ministry of external affairs, and then you have the opportunity to represent your country abroad. You have the opportunity to change and impact the lives of public, large numbers of public. So I strongly feel that civil services is a very good career choice, if you are, if you have the passion towards your country. So yeah, I mean, I never regretted that, I moved out of, software.
yeah.
So, sir, you have studied in IIT and you are studying right now in Oxford, right? So, is there any difference in studying in India and in foreign countries?
Oh well, see, I got into, after 7 years of service in any civil services. After 7 years, you get this opportunity to go abroad and study. You get 2 years of study leave, which you can utilize, and you can apply through your government's permission. You can apply to any university, and you can study. So I applied to Oxford and Cambridge, and I got into both the universities with full scholarships. So I got into the biodiversity conservation and management in Oxford. It's a school of geography and environment. My passion was geography, because I had my optional as geography in the civil services also. And Oxford Geography School is the best in the world. And I also got into the Cambridge Conservation Initiatives, CCI, Cambridge Conservative Initiative, which offers a MPhil in conservation leadership. So I got into that also, where I got full funding from the department. Ultimately, I had chosen Oxford because here I got the scholarship from Oxford India Center for Sustainable Development, which has scholars from across different disciplines who discuss about sustainable development aspects of India. So we had scholars who were working on, the lawyers. We had people from the chemistry background. We had people from the geography background, who as a cohort we discuss India at Oxford. And being in the Oxford is definitely a life changing decision. I really love my time in Oxford because uh, in Oxford, my cohort, we had a cohort of 28 people, and all of them are like across the world. So we had almost like 17 to 18 countries being represented in a cohort of uh, 28, and everyone brings their own perspectives with respect to conservation, how they are being practicing in their countries, and what are their discussion, what are their experiences and all that. It is a huge learning. And Oxford is probably one of the best universities when it comes to research. So there's a lot of research that's been going on in Oxford. We had a lot of talks from people who are doing cutting edge research. So I was member of Oxford Impact Lab, Sustainable Development Goals Impact Lab, where we had talks from people from Google. You'd be very surprised that Google has a environmental wing, which works on carbon emissions. How do you reduce the carbon emissions in the aeronautical space? So yeah, so we had a lot of exposure in Oxford, and I really thoroughly enjoyed my time over there. And if you ask me the main difference between the Oxford and Indian education system, Oxford is more driven by the individuals. It is more than the universities. The individuals are very much self-learned individuals. They read a lot. They express a lot. There was a lot of discussions, arguments, exchange of ideas in Oxford. Uh, Whereas I feel within India we still have this hand holding thing that is going on, which is fine. But uh, but yeah, the experience by going to Oxford is more about understanding the international perspectives and how the things work, especially in the field of conservation and biodiversity, in which I'm working on. So yeah, there is definitely a difference, but I mean, it depends on how do you take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the one thing you learned in Oxford that every Indian should learn from it?
Well, what's the one thing I learned in Oxford? I think the probably the research that is happening in Oxford. It is really cutting edge research. When you talk about the climate change, when you talk about the biodiversity loss, when you talk about the ecosystem degradation. So there's a lot of research that is happening. And uh, Oxford, universities like Oxford and Cambridge, they have direct access to international bodies like United Nations, the UNFCCC, or the Ramsar Convention, where they send their delegations. Most of the the academia that actually decides the policies come from these elite universities. So by going into these universities and studying at these universities, you actually see the narratives that are being built up there, the research that is being happening, and how do you actually put across your points to the international audience, which is very important. Like for example, if you need a policy change at a United Nations level, or you know or or in the international frameworks. Okay, how do you actually reach out to them? So it is Oxford provides you that platform where you get a lot of exposure. You get to interact with a lot of people who are really working in these policy aspects in the United Nations, in the respective governments, and even outside government spaces. So you get to interact with a lot of these people, and try to you understand a lot of perspectives and a lot of narratives, which are wonderful things, which we probably will not be able to get it at a single place in India. So you go to Oxford, where Oxford is very international. You get people from across the world, with their own perspectives, with their own experiences, own knowledge. By being there, you will learn a lot, rather than going and sitting in the classroom. Just by interacting with the people there, you learn a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It has been really great conversation. Where can our audience follow your journey, like about the initiatives you are doing?
Well, I'm active in social media. My LinkedIn is there, so anyone can join my
Yeah,
LinkedIn. I keep posting my professional stuff in the LinkedIn. I do have a blog, but it is more of a personal blog. But all my UPSC journey has been
yeah,
record.
yes.
I've made a record of the blog. So if any UPSC aspirant is interested in the forest service, probably they can uh, check out my blog also. But LinkedIn is the place where I keep posting my professional updates.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Harshit. Thank you,
Yeah,
Pranit.
yeah,
It
thank
was
you, sir.
wonderful interacting with you.